see you. Happy that we get to talk. I'll be back in LA next week, so we'll have to sit down. I'll have to come to the fabulous restaurant that you have there. So thank you, first of all, for doing this. I know you're a busy guy. So why don't we start with your background? I mean, you and I know each other very well, but for anyone that's going to be viewing this, they may not know who the famous Marc Kreiner is.
Well, do you want me to go back to the record days?
Yes, the record days are amazing.
Days, disco. Well, you know, I was one of the founders of disco music back in the 70s. I've got over 200 gold records, platinum records, or combination of gold and platinum records, and a Grammy. And Chic was one of my main group that I discovered, and had a wonderful, wonderful run. The last artist I worked with was Natalie Cole. We turned her career around. And then I got out of the record business, but I was in there for about 20 years. So it was a lot of fun.
Wow. I didn't know disco lasted that long.
Oh yeah. Well, disco didn't last that long, but I was in the music industry, you know?
Okay. And then from music, you went on to?
Then I had an infomercial company, a very successful infomercial company. Did an infomercial with Roy Jones and a few other people. And then I ended up selling that company, and I ended up in the mixed martial arts world with Tap Out.
That's how we met.
Yeah, we met at Tap Out. Well, the guys brought me in. They were doing great. It was before the sport was even legal. And they were doing a great job. And when I came in, within 2 years, I took the company from 400,000 in sales to 200 million in sales.
That's amazing.
And it was a wonderful experience. And unfortunately, our founder, Mask, got killed by a drunk driver. So we ended up selling the company, but it was in 2010. But in between those 4 years, it was another exciting time in my life. It was great I was the president and chairman of the company, and one of the owners, and it was fun. It was great. I had a wonderful team. And
so we won't get into the business you're in now. We'll talk about that in a second. But out of those three, which one was the one that you enjoyed the most, or gave you the most, whatever it is that entrepreneurs seek?
Well, I think the key for an entrepreneur is to really be here now, so whatever business I was in was exciting for me at the time, because when it stopped being fun, I stopped. And so when I was in the record industry, it was phenomenal. When I was in the infomercial company business, it was phenomenal. And Tap Out, it was, as you know, a trendsetter. It was the first new regulated sport in 150 years. So, it was either Nike or Tap Out that was hot. And but for me, the key being an entrepreneur is when I succeed and get to the top in any one industry, I never go back. Because once you've been to the top, there's only one place to go but down. So when I've exited all these companies, I've been on the top. So that's when I got into the restaurant industry.
Well, here's my opinion, and it may be factors that I'm just not thinking about. So I know you've been into these three industries, and the Tap Out or the mixed martial art industry, that's when I knew you. So of course we've had many conversations about that. But I just always assumed you enjoyed disco most, because that's the one that I know so much about.
Disco was pretty awesome. I got to tell you, it's pretty hard to top disco. I mean, can you imagine? It was the only sound around the world, and it was such a great time to be alive. Everybody was happy. Everybody loved everybody, and everybody just danced, had fun, and drank. Party. Yeah. And it was great, and it was a very special time. I've been very blessed to be involved in these different industries.
Yeah, you don't talk that much about the infomercial space, so I just assumed that was your least favorite, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, that was probably my least favorite. It was very successful, but it's not necessarily based on money. It's based on fun and having a good time also.
Yeah. And now you're in the restaurant business. So,
Yes, sir.
you know, you own the Morrison. Actually, you own a couple of the Morrisons, and there's going to be a third one coming up. But the original Morrison was voted the seventh best restaurant in the United States. So that's an amazing feat
Yeah,
for
by
someone
Yelp.
just getting, yeah, by Yelp. So for someone just getting into the restaurant space, uh, I mean, that's amazing. There's people that have been doing restaurants all their lives that don't get those kind of accolades. So what do you attribute to your success in the restaurant space?
You know, the key that I feel and the key to my success, same thing with Tap Out. At the end of the day, Tap Out in the beginning was a t-shirt company, just like
Mhm.
Morrison is a hamburger place. But let me just add that on that Yelp list, we were the only hamburger restaurant in the Hot 100 in the whole country. So it was just
Wow.
us. So for me, I think it's that I think every entrepreneur has a little magic to them. And what I really, my strength is branding. And what I do is I do the opposite of what everybody else does. And as you know, Morrison is a destination restaurant. It's not located in a shopping center or next to a baseball stadium or a football stadium. You have to want to come here. And the amazing part is we have 21 parking spots. And as you know, you can't come in. It's packed all the time. Well,
Yeah, yeah,
pre-pandemic.
yeah.
And so the key for me, John, in being an entrepreneur and being trying to be a leader to my team is that I like to do things that are different. So for me, I would never sit here and tell you that I've got the best food in the world because I probably don't. Our food is good. Our food is excellent. And it shows we have over 4,500 Yelps and we're a 4.5-star restaurant. So it
That's
speaks for
amazing.
itself.
Yeah,
But for us, the reality is what brings our success is the brand, and the brand is the experience. When you come to Morrison, it's the experience. If you come with your kid, you get a balloon. You get a nice balloon, whether it be a Ranger Rick or Cinderella if you're a kid, or and if it's your birthday and you're 1 to 100, you get a massive birthday balloon 2 years ago. So everybody gets a balloon if it's a special occasion. Every kid gets a balloon. We also got voted #1 kid-friendly restaurant in LA, #1 dog-friendly restaurant in Los Angeles, which is a major statement because everybody has a dog out here, as you
that's
know.
right.
But
That's
what we
right.
do is you bring your dog in. We give your dog a silver platter with a bowl of water and some cookies. So, you get
Yeah, that's
that no
amazing.
matter what. And then we got a dog. So it's about the experience. It's about having a good time. We like to make people feel special. The key for me is I believe when you're dealing with people, you must make them feel special. You just have to make them feel special. And we've been very fortunate, very fortunate.
Now, is that advice about making people feel special just in the restaurant space or every business that you've been in?
Every business I've been in, every business I've been in, and I believe every service industry that should be too. And unfortunately, nowadays, even pre-pandemic, you wouldn't see a lot of the owners in restaurants in the restaurants. People just don't. They just want you to come and eat and spend their money. And these people work hard for their money. You got to make them feel special. You got to give them something, and that's the key to our success. And it really speaks for itself. And another key to my success is my team. I've got a phenomenal team. I can only do so much. I can lead, but I can't do as they do. So from the servers to the busboys, to the dishwasher, to the cooks, to the hosts, to the managers, it's a team effort. You all have to be a team to be successful.
That's great. And, restaurant businesses are notoriously difficult. And I know it took a lot of hard work, to get the accolades that you guys have gotten. And you were just at that breaking point where it looked like Morrison was going to be, this thing that was in every city in the United States, potentially. Right. And then COVID hit and it's been devastating, not just to you, but to everybody else. Can you tell us some of your experiences with what's been going on this last year?
Yeah, well, first of all, my heart goes out to anyone in the restaurant industry, whatever whatever their job was. It's been very, very, very difficult. I can tell you that we're here today by the grace of God and determination and a team that just stuck together. We were shut down in the beginning for 3 months. It was devastating. I felt so bad because a lot of these kids they live paycheck to paycheck. Then we got open, then we got shut, then we got open, then we got outside dining. Then today, most recently, we got reopened a couple months ago to do outside dining at 50%, but no TVs, which,
Yeah.
LA County has been brutal, but we do everything by protocol and by the law. I don't necessarily
you have to.
agree. I don't agree, but that's okay. I mean, I'm not, a doctor and stuff, but we follow. The most important thing for me as a leader is that my team has got to be healthy. I can tell you, thank God, we haven't had one case of COVID with any employee or any customer telling us anything. So we've done early protocol following. We've had the shields, we've had masks, we've had gloves, we clean, we do everything. So we've been doing that.
Temperature checks.
Temperature checks by every customer that comes in, everything, John. We do everything. We log everything. We do everything. Single most important thing is people's health. Everything else will come secondary. And we've had a great following, and people have supported us. And it's been very, very, very hard. Financially, we lost a lot of money last year, as I'm sure everybody did. And we're just struggling, and thank God for the PPP, which we're now waiting again for our second PPP. But it's hard. It's very, very hard. I'm here days. I'm part.
I think I might have lost you for a second, Mark. There you are. Okay. Yeah. Well, and what's also interesting to me is there are restaurants in LA, and I can't think of any of them off the top of my head just now, but it's been so long since I've been going to restaurants or whatever, except for Morrison. I've been there every time you guys are open. But there's big staples, I mean, restaurants that have been around forever, or at least since I've been in LA for 25 years, and they're just gone, and so I guess that's a credit to you that you're able to keep the Morrison open, even with all the financial struggles, and then all the the shutdowns and the openings. And I know that once they passed the rules to allow you to open outdoors, you invested in that, and then suddenly they shut that down. So that's just insult to injury, right? They, what little money you had left, from the restaurant, you pour into this, and then they say, now you can't, So what do you think would have been a better way to do it? Do you think, Ari? Do you have any thoughts on that, or is that just something?
Well, I'm sure like everybody has an opinion. My thought was I strongly believe if it needs to be shut, it needs to be shut. But you can't, down the street, you have a Costco and a Target, and people are packed, and people are, I mean, if you're going to shut it, what I would have done is I would have shut everything. I probably would have given everybody a week or so to go get your food and everything, like, they were talking about, and then everybody locked down for a month, and and let's get healthy. Let's get back to ourselves. Don't make exceptions. Well, this shopping center can have 25%, but the restaurants sitting out. I mean, there was my problem was there was no consistency.
Yeah.
So that was my frustration, but I respected the health department and the rules. We did it by the rules. We didn't, I know there were other restaurants that just said, screw it, we're going to open and we'll take a fine and we'll do this, but I don't live my life that way. We do it by the rules.
Yeah. And that's important, so I certainly don't agree with a lot of this stuff. And my opinions on politicians and how devastating they are to entrepreneurs, just simply because they don't understand. Most of these guys have never
Run a business.
owned a business. It's the public that pays them, and it's this endless amount of money, so they can make these rash decisions that don't seem to make any sense on some level. And then also they never see past that moment, right? So they don't know what the results of all of this is going to be. And,
Sure.
and some of that we can see now, but it is what it is. So as a lifelong entrepreneur yourself, what advice would you give entrepreneurs or anyone that's interested in starting a business, whether it's restaurant or otherwise? I don't know which one you want to speak on.
Well, first of all, they can always contact me through you. It'd be my pleasure. I always like to mentor people and see people succeed. So I'm always there to answer questions. But I'm still from the school that if you have a passion and a dream, go after it. Don't allow information and the media to deter you from going after something you really believe in your heart that you can succeed in. And that's really been the key for me, because every industry that I've been involved in, everybody said you can't do it, because they said you couldn't be in the record business because you can't hear a tune, which is the truth. They said you can't be in the garment industry because it's nickels and dimes and you have no idea what you're doing. And that's the truth. But of course, the rest is history. And of course, the restaurant business, I'm sober and I don't cook. So the two things that you need, they say you can't because of that. So, but the key to my success, John, and I think the key to any entrepreneur would be the fact that surround yourself around people that are smarter than you, and then you lead them. So I never step out of my boundaries. I know my limits, and so I surround myself with the best people of the field of what I'm doing at the time. And that has been the key to my success, which I really believe is the key to any entrepreneur's success, because all of us are given a God gift, and mine is to be a leader, to build, to brand, and to sell in a big way.
So if it wasn't the restaurant business, what would you be doing?
Well, John, you know what? I couldn't tell you that, because I couldn't tell you I was going to be in the restaurant business, because I'm so focused on what I'm doing. So I'm in the restaurant business. I will tell you this: when I sell this company, I will not go back in the restaurant industry, just like I won't go back in the garment industry, the restaurant industry. So right now I'm focused on the restaurant industry, having some fun. And just to let you know that there are 3 Morrisons right now, and 2 of them are with another partner, and they manage it, and they're the majority owner. We're a minority owner, but I consult with them. But this is my baby.
Yeah. And it's the best one.
Well, they're all good. Thank you, John.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I don't want to keep you any longer. I know you've got a lot to do today. I'll be back in LA here in a couple of weeks, and then I'll stop by, and we'll have our usual sit down glass of water and meal.
Yeah, that'd be great. I can't wait. And are you staying nice and warm now out in Texas?
Yeah. It's not bad. I travel back and forth pretty often,
Sure.
But the stuff that I'm doing in Texas is coming along pretty well. So
that's great. I know you're working close with the mayor down there, and I know they all love you as much as we love you out here.
Yeah, well, all these Californians moving to Texas, they needed someone to help facilitate this thing, because it's getting crazy over here with the numbers that are just moving. It's 750 a day on average moving to Texas.
Well, not to say that I may not be down there one day.
Well, we got to get a Morrison here. All right, Mark. I love you.
I love you too. Have a great day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.